Good evening. The board has now returned from closed session and will begin the regular session of the Keys Union School District Board of Trustees. Item 4.1, report out closed session items. In closed session, the board took action by a vote of 5 to release a permanent classified. We're going to take that vote in open session right now. Do I have a motion to release employee 2216? I have a first. Do I have a second?
Second it.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to 4.2, approval of agenda. Do we have anything to amend?
No additions to the agenda.
Do we have approval as is with a lot of blue marks? Do we have a motion?
I'll motion it.
We have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to the flag salute. Mr. Murray? You guys got put on the spot. I don't think that mic's on.
Tap it.
Please stand for the flag. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you. Moving on to item 6, I'll pass it off to Mr. Brazil.
All right. Well, this is the portion of the organizational meeting for December that we actually install board members. After our recent election, we have 3 members who were re-elected to the board. So I'm going to ask that they all 3 please stand, if they would. And I will have them read the oath that they have in front of them, and I will ask that they raise their right hand at this time.
Can we do it all together?
And you may, yes, so if we can do 1, 2, 3, and please read.
Someone's got to start. Come on. All right, I'll start. You guys
I-
just catch up. I, Jeff Reed, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will. Wes, you're not saying it.
Oh my gosh, how can I? You're talking.
We're going to do this separately?
I think we better do it
All
separately.
right, I'll do it first. I, Jeff Reed, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. That I'll take obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Jim- Jimmy?
I, Jimmy Emmons-Singer, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. That I will take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Great job.
Wes?
I, Wesley Green, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Thank you. Congratulations to our 3 board members.
I will?
Well. I will well.
I will well.
It's amazing how I have such power as the official for the district, the only time
I loved it that you stood up.
I raise my hand. All right, next we will have, we will open it up for the election of officers. So do we have nominations for the office of president?
Well, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Jeff Reed for president. I think he works many long hours, tries more than we could expect from most people that do a real good job. And I don't think we do a better job than Jeff.
Thank you.
We have a second
I'll second that. And
motion.
with that being said, I just want to make sure that we all understand that I've watched my mother Holly Green as board president at our home. And I watched the countless hours and witnessed this determination she had to make a good, strong board president. And I thought, wow, never been anybody like my mom. But Jeff Reed has truly performed in a way that I would say, my mom used to say, beside every great man, you'd find a better woman. But the thing is Jeff, it's equal. I think that you are the best of the best, my friend. And I thank you for your help with everything you do. For us, the children, the staff, all of us. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, we'll take roll call vote. Mr. Greener?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Emmons?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Mr. President,
Thank
you
you.
may continue with the meeting.
All right, moving on with board vice president. Do we have a nomination?
Nominate West.
All right, we have a first. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And I haven't missed a meeting in 13 years, but it
Aye.
might happen.
I know.
Never know.
Moving on to board clerk. Do you have a nomination?
Who was our last board clerk?
Mike, what'd you say?
Good.
Did you nominate Jimmy? Our last board clerk was Mike, but in the years past, it was Jimmy.
Okay.
So we have one nomination for Jimmy. Do we have another one?
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. And then the board of trustees are representative. That's what,
Yeah, that's the representative who will represent us at the county level for the Stanislaus County School Boards Association.
I will nominate Jeff Greener.
I'll second that nomination.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
You can vote for yourself. It's okay.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Sorry, guys, this is what we do every December. It kind of drags on sometimes, but it's important. 6.3, board members shall assume their new positions. We're pretty close to it. 6.4, approval of calendar, dates, times, place, regular meetings, the signatures of board members, and authorizations. I looked at the calendar. My only thing is we don't know what our tournaments are next year, so if we're just open-minded to change dates as we see fit, but I say the calendar's good to go. Any other questions or concerns?
I don't think so.
We have a motion to approve.
I'll motion.
We have a first. Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 7, invitation to address the Board of Trustees. Do we have any? No? Okay. Moving on to announcements. Keys Elementary School had their winter performance last night from at 6 to 6:30. Keys of Learning Charter School Christmas party is December 13th. Spratly Middle School Winter Art Contest due December 14th. Keys Elementary School winter performances, second and third grade, are tomorrow at 6 and 6:30. Keys Elementary School winter performance, fourth and fifth grade, is December 15th at 6 and 6:30. Keys to Learning Charter Key Academy, PJ, is December 15th. I know, we're ready for that. Moving on to 8.7, Keys to Learning High School Christmas party is December 15th. Keys Elementary School door decorating contest is December 16th. And 8.9, this is what everybody in the back row would love to hear. Winter break, no school, December 19th through January 6th. Minimum day, December 16th. We will return on January 9th. Moving on to 9.1, staff reports. We've read the staff reports. Any questions or concerns? All right, moving on to student report. We'll start with elementary first.
Okay, thank you. They're going to begin. Some of what they prepared for you was supposed to be presented last month, but they weren't able to make it because I wasn't able to make it. But they've been working very hard on this. Thank you.
Don't be scared. You did the flag salute. Come on up.
Good evening. I am Mia Pachola, student body lead announcer. Student council has been working on planning, voting on things, having general assembly meetings, cabinet meetings, and ideas for students to have fun. And we are happy to plan and have ideas for all of us to have for this school. And also thank you for your time.
Good evening. I'm Jazreen Chauhan, Student Council President. The pumpkin run was great. I think the idea of medals helped motivate the kids. The family barbecue was a great time for families to have fun. PTC Fall Carnival was also very fun. Student Council helped by taking 15-minute shifts to pick up trash. In the end, the blacktop was very nice and clean. We had a General Assembly meeting last Friday, which also went very well. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jasmine Lopez, Student Body Vice President. This week is Winter Wonderland. We have 5 different dress-up days. Monday was dress up as your favorite Christmas character. Tuesday is wear Christmas colors. Wednesday is wear an ugly sweater. Thursday is wacky Christmas. Friday is wear Christmas pajamas. Some ideas for equipment are playground for 4th and 5th, kickball, tennis, soccer gloves. We asked some classes, and this is what dress-up days they thought of is Superhero Day, Favorite Sports Player, and Career Day. We will be doing some of these things when we come back from break. We look forward to you at our Christmas performances this week. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ripal Kaur, ASB Treasurer. I will talk about the budget. The budget is divided into 5 parts that are field trips, clubs, priorities, and special events and fundraisers. I recently had put all of the money that was requested for clubs and field trips for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. The following items have been approved by ASB are soccer goals and the Gaga Ball Pit. The amount that is allocated is $11,350, and the amount unallocated is $1,430. Thank you for your time.
Hello and good evening. My name is Haley Gonzalez, Student Body Secretary. As Student Body Secretary, I take notes when ASB is in session. I also take notes when we're in General Assembly. What I like about my job is when my job is neat and done. It is important for our notes to be accurate so that we can be back and remember what we thought or voted on. Thank you for your time.
Hello, I am Andres Solis, Student Council Announcer. I get to tell people the things that we do each week. I am happy I get to announce stuff on the intercom. Those are just some of the reasons I enjoy Student Council.
All right.
Any questions?
You guys look like you're rich for a minute, and then you guys spent it all.
Was it tough to make those decisions when you had to decide what you were going to spend your money on?
Not really.
Not really. Did everyone agree, or were there some disagreements?
I think everyone agreed.
Very good. And I like to see that you left a little bit of a reserve on there. You have a savings, which is important to always have.
Who was the primary person to facilitate that? Who was the lead person?
Oh.
You guys are all pointing different directions.
Yeah.
Someone-
Well, I'm not for sure what the funds are even for. So I wondered to myself, who facilitated the you get so much money allocated to something, and now we say, okay, let's have a meeting to find out how we're going to.
This is money raised, not allocated.
Well.
So there was money raised. Then I asked them what it is that they wanted. Okay, what kind of things were they interested in? So then those were put into categories, and then they were asked to put a fractional amount because they understand fractions. They're 5th graders. How much should this be a fraction? How much should this be a fraction?
They decided that? Oh, beautiful. Okay.
I think.
And then at that point, then it was turned into dollars, and then they started deciding what they wanted to spend that money on.
And after that, Mr. Murray, how do you feel they did?
I think they did an amazing job. I was afraid that they, like, in the back of my mind, I was worried
Yep.
And there are different types of different priorities within, and different desperate groups within school would be asking them for money. But they were very responsible with their money, specifically because they are representing student interests. And based on that, when something was brought to them, they had told people no. They told people that things were too expensive.
Wow.
They told people that things are not a priority, and that's coming completely.
That's leadership there, yes.
That is, they need some guidance, but they don't need you to tell them what to do, and that is very powerful.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Murray. Thank you,
In
children.
Mr. Murray's report, he talked about the vandalism to the soccer goals. How'd you guys feel about having to spend $400 for someone else's damages? Because that's not something you guys were buying for fun. It was something you guys were buying to replace.
Everyone in 5th grade and 4th grade were very disappointed because a lot of people play soccer. So it was a disappointment, and also we had both of them vandalized, but one got repaired.
Also, the piece that they're replacing it with, Mrs. Moran was able to find something made out of galvanized steel for less money than what we paid for the plastic ones that we
Yeah.
had. It was going to be much more difficult to galvanize, and can you do something with the plan as to what to do with those goals?
There is a sports club that will be taking it on Fridays, putting it in this next to the soccer where the place next to the track is, where Cougar Cave is, and they'll be putting it in there, and yeah.
What is a gaga ball?
There's a question mark on it. I don't think they know what it is.
When we played it, Miss Moran had set it up with tables, so there were tables in like a circular form, and kids would go inside and play with the ball. And if you got hit by the ball, you were out, and you have to like try hitting the ball and getting other people out to be last one standing.
Yeah.
It's like dodgeball mixed with like volleyball.
It's expensive. I could throw a ball a lot cheaper than that.
I think that the other thing, Mr. Green, that has happened is I think Mr. Murray has given these young ladies and gentlemen the opportunity to become leaders, and has, rather than, as he stated, not telling them what they should do, being there as an advisor to advise them on situations and allowing them time to work through those things. So I wanted to recognize the fact, because in order for student councils to be successful, they have to have someone as an advisor, and that's like any other club. So I wanted to point that out. And all of you should be commended for an amazing job, not only for being officers, but for being leaders, not just this year, but continuing on as you go on in our district. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, children.
Moving on to Spratling Student Council.
Hello, we are student representatives of Spratling Middle School. I'm Yosgar Toledo, an 8th grader at SMS, as well as president of Student Council.
Hello, I am Shelby Wood, and I'm a member of Student Council. The first thing we will talk about is anything but a backpack day, with the students using their creativity and bringing microwaves, strollers, carts, and etc. We also had our holiday movie night with the movie Frozen 2 being shown, with many students coming.
We had a wonderful season with our girls' basketball season. While the season came to an end with our 8th grade girls team placing 4th, while our 6th and 7th grade team placed 1st.
We have our boys' basketball season opening up with the teams trying out right now before their first game with against Turlock Junior High on January 10th. We have our holiday Winter Spirit Week on right now, with Monday wear red and green day, Tuesday wear white day, Wednesday Santa Hat Day, Thursday holiday icon, and ending our week we have Friday ugly sweater day.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Brazil?
All right.
No, the second part of yogurts.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm going to do. At this time, I'd like to share with everyone in the audience, the board already knows, I received what I felt was a incredible communication sent to me as superintendent by students of Spratly Middle School and the student council and that of who you just heard as their president, Yogurt, which was absolutely touching to me as an individual superintendent. What I wanted to do in education was work with kids. And unfortunately, in my position, and I say that, most of my work is spent dealing with adults who can't get along. But these kids brought before me something in writing that was absolutely made me think, made me respect where it came from, and made me realize that maybe there's still a little left for me to do and support, and that is kids, listening to kids. The voices of those kids are really why we say we come to work every day. So we had the gentleman brought forward some changes that the student body would like to make in regards to our dress code. Our dress code has not been touched, revised, or looked at in, I would say that this is my 6th year, and I know that it hadn't been touched prior to that for probably as long as that. So it is incredibly outdated. As I shared with those students who, again, really are amazing individual kids who know how to put forward their thoughts. Turlock has even revamped their dress code and their conduct code, which we feed into. And so I think it is more than time for us as a district to look at ours. But I would like us to do so, and my recommendation to the board will be that we form a committee, and the committee be representative of students as well as staff, for us to be able to go through the entire handbook and dress code and really address it so that everyone understands and feels it's something that we can adhere to. Because if we have a dress code that no one follows, then it's not serving any purpose. If we have a dress code that half of our staff practices and the other half close their eyes to, that's not necessarily fair to kids. One of the things that was pointed out to me that I completely believed was the fact that males, as male employees of a district, it is very difficult, and you are put in a terrible position having to call a female student out on what she is wearing. It's an uncomfortable thing for male employees, for male teachers, and I shared that with these kids because these kids brought that as one of the unfair practices that they see. The other was also shared the fact that they felt that they spent more time having to call their parents, making clothes changes, than being in the classroom learning. So their issue, and why tonight I'm wearing pajamas, I have my clothes underneath, but I wanted to be supportive of what these students have asked for. And my caution will be during if the board directs me to lead this committee, will be we need to dress appropriately, and we need to do things that are, we don't want to insult others by anything that we're wearing on purpose. But I think that there is a great deal of wiggle room to look at something and addressing this. So I wanted to thank again the young ladies and gentlemen who really, I finally felt like, wow, it took me this long to connect with a group of kids and about something like clothing, which is so important to kids at that age. So I want to thank them. I hope that they do not think that they've caused trouble. To me, it was the nicest thing I came back actually from vacation, and that was the first thing on my desk, and I absolutely loved it because that's what I wanted to do. And so I want to thank them. Yogurt, I don't know if any of you guys want to share anything else, but if you would.
Oh, they got something.
Shelby didn't get the memo. I think the mic's off.
Tap the bottom up. There you go.
I'm just here to share the email. Hi, I'm Yosef Toledo, and I am the student council president enrolled at Spratly Middle School.
School should be a safe, comfortable, and judge-free environment for everyone, including students, no matter what they dress like. Despite how common it is, school dress code and policies often reflect and reinforce outdated and sexist stereotypes. When dress code violations are dealt with, we must leave class to wait for our parents. This takes away from a student's educational time in the classroom. Students are nervous and have anxiety about coming to school and are afraid of getting told something based on their sense of fashion. Students should feel more intimidated when teachers are looking to dress code?
I have came to suggest in making changes in the SMS dress code. We are not in agreement with number 9 under the dress code that states that students are not to wear pajamas as daily clothing. It is unfair for people to address us based on our style and comfortability. I've heard and understand the reasons teachers/staff, if you won't go to work with that outfit, you shouldn't wear it to school. However, there are some jobs that there is no dress code and there's enforceable regarding pajamas, nothing enforceable.
Hi, I'm Emily Medina. I am treasurer of student council and at Spratling Middle School. If the dress code wasn't so strict, teachers wouldn't be judging us. More than half of the school dress code only applies to females. Dress codes teach women from a young age that their bodies are to be hidden. Most girls wear crop tops, shorts, pajama pants, and not even after third period, they have already called their parents. While on the other hand, guys can wear a piece of clothing and yet go all day with it on and no punishment.
This dress code can limit people on self-expression. What is the school district supposed to teach us? That we can't even be ourselves without having to stress, worry, or have anxiety over what a teacher or staff has to say? People state the dress code applies to everyone, but if you think about it, maybe 1 in 75 boys are going to show their midriffs or things in that fashion. We think that dress code limits us in our expression, and this is why we feel like this dress code should be updated. Thank you.
And thank you.
Yeah.
I think that you guys were that is the exact example of what I saw in this email and how I was that this was brought to my attention. I am so proud that we have students in our district at Spratling Middle School that can express themselves in the way they just did and be amazing leaders, which they are. I am so proud of all of them for so many things, and truly, if there has been a highlight for this year, it has been the fact that I have engaged more with all of you. You have understood and kind of have a better idea of what this group does. And I think that that is so important. So I thank you. And again, I will make the recommendation that the board please proceed in directing me to form that committee so that we can address those issues.
I just had one thing to say as I was listening. I wonder if you students know that 2 of the biggest companies on the face of the planet would side with you. Do you know what 2 companies them are?
I do not.
Facebook and Google, right? The dress code is so relaxed. And I come from an older age to where I kind of agree with it should be a standard, kind of simple dress code. But I've had a few kids in my life and beautiful children, and they have softened my edges. And then not too long ago, I heard about Google and Facebook with their relaxed dress codes. And I was listening to you, and I just wondered if you knew that 2 of these biggest companies in our nation, you know, have that relaxed dress code. So I have to say that I think time has come, right? I think the time has come, and I appreciate you for standing up for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
We can run the meeting in pajamas. You guys can go to school in pajamas.
There you go.
Thank you, guys. Wasn't that hard, was it?
I don't know if you want to take any action or
Yeah, any discussion from the board?
I agree with the kids. I think it's time to upgrade, to look at form a committee and update the dress code.
About how long a process will this take?
Well, we obviously probably won't begin until the beginning of the new school year, so I am thinking that it'll probably take us a couple of meetings. So I want to say that perhaps we could be complete or have it updated by March, just because, again, it will depend on when we can schedule meetings. I don't want to be too, think we can get it done overnight, because I don't think that'll be the case. But so I would say up to probably March.
Can we push pajamas faster with the rest being on hold?
If the board wishes to do that. As I explained to the young men and young ladies that you heard from, it is not my decision to make. I advise the board on what or what I believe that is in the best interest of the district and therefore students. But the board actually adopts those handbooks and those codes, so it's not mine necessarily. I'll be honest, I don't know all of it, of what is in there, and that's one of the things where I really do want to go through and feel like I know it inside and out, because I think it's important to do that. So I have no problem if the board directs me to say, we are moving forward with this, but you need to continue on with looking at other issues.
Beautiful.
So I'll make a motion that we approve pajamas are okay while we work with the committee to fine tooth comb the dress code? Are you okay with that, Mr. Brazil?
Yeah, I am.
Is that pajamas with the tail?
What?
No, those are old days.
Okay. Okay.
What? No BVDs?
It really should be. So it should be something that we bring back to the next meeting and be approved at that next meeting. But the board can direct me to form a committee without having to take formal action. So you could do that.
So how do you want me to word it?
I think if you simply direct me
We have to leave
to
the
form the
PJs off.
committee and address pajamas and the dress and conduct code.
All right, I'll make a motion that we address this with
It's not a motion even, it's just you're directing the
a direction, that we put a committee together and move on.
Will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
All right, moving on to recognition, 9.3.1, Mr. Brazil.
Okay, well, we have, speaking of amazing kids and the maturity level that we're seeing, and I'm so proud to have, is we have a young lady, Leah Torres, who is here this evening and who did not leave the site of a student who was injured, made sure that that student was comforted, cared, and showed true, deep care for an individual human being, and having the character and the ability to do so. So I would like Leah to come forward, and Jeff, I don't know if you want to add some additional information, but Leah, if you'll please come forward, I'd like to present you with just a little token of our appreciation.
Don't be shy. We had what we thought was just a tired, exhausted player, and I had to get Leah's help, and it turned into a medical emergency. She didn't leave her side, took care of her the whole time, listened to everything we said, asked questions. Even when she had to take her seatbelt off on the bus, she knew she wasn't supposed to, so she asked Miss Woods if she could. And Miss Woods like, do whatever you need, we're driving. You know, but I really appreciate your help. I couldn't have done it without you. And the cutest thing ever is like, when we got back to the school, she's like, I have to call my mom because if I don't get off the bus, she's gonna get worried. And so she was worried about another student, stayed by her side, held her, we kept shaking her, we kept taking care of her, but she was worried what her mom was gonna feel like if she didn't get off the bus, because you know, her mom would have thought it was her or something on the bus waiting for a fire truck. I really appreciate it. Like, I've known you through sports, I know you could do anything, but you really stood up that night, and I asked for your help, and I'm glad I asked for your help because you stayed by my side, and I really appreciate it. Did she go home and tell you guys what she did? Yeah.
You know, Mom, that fruit doesn't fall far from the tree, I think, right?
You've done well in raising her, absolutely.
All right, thank you, Leah. Moving on to 9.3.2. The rest of the meeting's boring. You guys in the back row can go. No, wait for the presentations. 9.3.2, Amber Rogers, the SPY grant recipient.
So I would like to tonight recognize Mrs. Rogers, who is the counselor here at KES. And one of the things that each year, the SPY is Stanislaus Partners in Education, an amazing organization that tries to connect schools with businesses and partnering up and doing some internships even during the summer. But the biggest thing is they put out grants for schools and for teachers to implement some kind of project within their classroom or on their sites. And I send it out to everybody to apply for. I know that we've had the charter, as Ms. McGinnis can attest to as well, have been recipients of. I think I don't remember a year that we haven't been, so they treat us extremely well. And this time, Ms. Rogers submitted a grant that was approved, and I wanted to thank her for her not only taking the time to writing it, but now to implementing it and serving kids. What you do each day is very important, and I think mental health now more so than ever. So thank you and congratulations.
I don't think you knew you created more work for yourself, huh? All right, moving on to 9.3.3, Ms. Ruger, you want to talk about the turkey dinner?
I just wanted to thank everybody for all of the help. I tried to include everybody that I remembered, and I apologize if I forget anyone. Starting with Mike and his wife, they worked tireless hours with me and got 95, if not more % of everything donated on the event. And that was a coordination of a lot of organizations and a lot of efforts on their part, and I really appreciated working with you and getting to know you better. So I thank them wholeheartedly for that. I thank Eric and Jackie. They were our turkey people, and they made all the turkey, and they haven't done that in the past, so we're all learning together, and they did a fabulous job. Jimmy, he's always there keeping me in line and making sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and he's our Mr. Gravy Man and our dishwasher, and he did a fabulous job as well. And Jeff's our mashed potato man. He was there helping all along the way and dishwashing as well. So we super appreciate this and all the events that you guys help with. Jeff Greener was also there helping in any way needed. Maribel was wonderful organizing all the ticket sales and the ticket booth. I also listed all the organizations that helped. We planned for 300. We sold 369 and at 95% profit. So we made a whole lot of money. At the door was $12 and outside the door was $10. So doing the math, we probably made well over $4,000 in just that one event. Student council was marvelous. They were all there delivering, making things, running things back and forth. We couldn't have done it without our student council under Brian's leadership. They were fantastic. So next year we're planning for 400, and we're looking forward to continuing this tradition and making it a fabulous event every year.
Beautiful.
Perfect, thank you.
Good. What did the proceeds go to? What did the proceeds go to?
Student body, so like what we saw with the elementary. All right, moving on to consent agenda items. Action prepared for consent calendar are consistent with adopted and approved policies of the district and are deemed routine in nature. They'll be acted upon in one motion without discussion unless members of the board request that an item be removed from the consent calendar. In that event, it will be taken up in order indicated on the main agenda. Any questions between 10.1 and 10.5? All right, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
We have a first, do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. You guys could go if you really want to. This is just business now. Moving on to action items. Approval of certificated classified confidential management personnel action items. We have that list. Do we have any questions or concerns? Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good night. Any questions or concerns? We have a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
We have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 11.2, presentation and approval of first interim. I had to get them out before this one. They would have fell asleep in the back row.
Try not to.
Raul is very entertaining.
It's not the most fun conversation we're going to have.
You guys in the back, you want to call your moms. You don't want to listen to all this money talk.
Well, good evening. Thank you for having me. Today I'm going to be presenting First Interim. For those of you who aren't aware, First Interim is just a snapshot in time of where we are financially in the district as of October 31st. If you go ahead and grab your packets and turn to page 2. We're going to start by looking at our budget assumptions. This is what we built our budget on. This year, we received a 13.26% COLA, and the CPI index, or consumer price index, is at 5.75%. In the out years, we are estimating COLA to be 5.38 for the first subsequent year. Those estimates are coming in a little higher at the moment. They're coming in at 8.73%, but there's a lot of talk of volatility within the budget or within the state. And with the looming recession, I'm not sure that we're going to hit that mark. So it's safer that we stay at the 5.38 to estimate. And the CPI comes down just a tad to 2.58. For STRS and PERS, rates seem to be stagnant now. We are at 19.10% for STRS, and that seems to be staying flat. And, STRS. And for PERS, it's coming down just a little bit, but their rates are still the highest they've ever been. Enrollment-wise, we are down to 702 from last year, and this is as of census date. As of today, though, we are down even further. We're down another 7 students to 695. So the lower our enrollment gets, the less money we receive. For our assumptions for funded ADA, we get funded either, there's 3 marks that we can hit. We're either funded on current ADA, which unfortunately our current ADA is really low, so that's not one we use. You can get funded on prior year, which is 736.20, or you can get funded on the 3 prior years, which came in at 720.63, which is really helping our funding a lot. If you go ahead and turn the page. So here is just our projection for enrollment. Once again, we were projecting at 702. We are, like I said before, we are down to another 7 students, bringing our total to 26 from last year. Funding is based on ADA. Our current ADA that this model was built on was 93.6. As of today, we are down even further to 93.1. If that keeps going down, that's less money we're receiving. We did spend some time last week with the admin council and brought to their attention how this is coming down really quickly, and as an effort to try to brainstorm what we can do to try to get the kids to school. If you turn the page, this is a side-by-side revenue pie chart that shows the results of the 3-year average. So with the 3-year average and the additional grants that we will be talking about a little bit later, we are up $3.6 million from budget adoption, which is great. Go ahead and turn the page. This page shows the major differences since budget adoption. If you look at the total revenues, you can see that we are up 3.6 million, and our expenditures are up 1.1. And that leaves our ending fund balance $1.4 million higher than we were estimating. Go ahead and turn the page. Our LCFF calculations. This page shows the change in LCFF funding over prior year. As you can see, we are almost at $1 million more than we were last year, and that is thanks to that three prior year average. The other thing we are going to be receiving, there are 2 new pockets of money. There's the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, which we should be getting $1.4 million. And that's to help school districts and charter schools with long-term recovery from COVID pandemic. And we have till 27-28 to spend that money. And then we also have an arts, music, and instructional materials discretionary block grant. This one requires a plan. It's not as much money. It's only $442,000, and we have till 2025-26 to spend it. And they really took the word discretionary into account because there's a lot more ways you can spend this money. It doesn't necessarily have to go to the arts. If you go ahead and turn the page. This is just a summary of where our funds are, our resources are as of first interim. Go ahead and turn the page. And from what Stephanie told me, this is your guys' favorite page. The ending balance and reserves. So we started the year with $5.5 million as a beginning balance. We are projecting revenues of $17 million, and we are projecting expenditures of $16.7 million, which leaves us with a projected ending fund balance of $5.7 million. If you look at the components of our ending fund balance, we'll start with the restricted side. We have $1.3 million in restricted funding, and that's made up of our educator effectiveness grant, which is money that we can use to send teachers to training or staff to training. We have lottery funds in there, and we have the money we've received of the 2 new grants. And on our unrestricted side is made up of $1.5 million of that 9.5% reserve that the board requires. We have $5,000 in revolving cash, $310,000 in technology reserves, $50,000 in maintenance reserves, $345,000 in textbooks, which this is the money that we use for adoption. And from my last conversation with Cindy, that's going to be in a future year, but that's why we're holding this money. We have that 15% additional concentration funds, which is $295 or $295,000. We haven't spent that money yet because that money can only be used to provide new additional certificated or classified staff. The problem with it is that it's not ongoing money. So it gets a little complicated. We also have $57,000 in transportation and $367,000 in lottery, bringing our total reserves to 17.9%, which is pretty healthy when the state only requires 4%. If we go ahead and turn the page, the general fund, historical fund balance are pretty high right now. We just have to take into account that the general fund, the fund balance is made up of the previous page, so it's not all up in the air to spend. If you turn the page one more time, this is just our multi-year projection. Talks about a lot of what we've already talked about. The one thing I do want to point out is that this year we have that $1.9 million in capital outlay, which is the money that we're planning on using for the projects that we're still trying to figure out. And if you turn the page to page 13, we're going to move on to the charter school. The charter school is up $382,000 from first interim in revenue, and their expenditures have gone up to $122,000. That is slightly due to I built in an increase in salaries and benefits to see if they're able to sustain a salary increase, which they are very healthily. And part of their components of ending fund balance are we still have that CDE overpayment. They still haven't taken that money out. So we still have it as a commitment.
Take it. No.
Oh, no, they'll take it out without telling you. Yeah, we don't have a choice. And then if you turn over to their historical fund balance, once again, it's very healthy, but we have to remember that that $582,000 is in there. That's why it's so high. And there is a salary increase as well, which for it to be that high with a salary increase, that's a really good thing. And it also assumes that enrollment does not recover in the out years. Because if you turn the page, they are down 23 students from the prior year. At the time that I did the projected enrollment, we were at 313. I believe they're up to 319 now, which is a good thing. And if you turn the page, the last page, they are also receiving both grants. So they're getting $212,000 in learning recovery, and they're getting $217,000 in that arts, music, and instructional materials discretionary grants.
Oh, that's good. You usually guys don't get to qualify for this stuff like that.
Oh yeah, all things are happening with the charter school.
Yeah.
Let's not say that. Any questions?
Well, the only thing I want to share is that we have to keep in mind that, again, we are in declining enrollment. I know nobody wants to hear it, but it is. The other really big problem, and I think Raul is completely ahead of it and has tried to share both in our cabinet meetings and administrative meetings, but also here with you tonight, is the fact that we are having, and you'll start hearing this next week or maybe by the end of the week, the California School dashboard is going to come out. And on that dashboard, we are killed by chronic absenteeism. That is, any student who has missed more than 15 days of school are designated as being chronic. We are in the middle of the 3 flus from hell, I think, and we are trying to keep kids in school, but yet we don't want sick kids at school, but yet the state says we're going to ding you if that's one of the things. So it's this vicious cycle that we do need kids in the seat. And so, but again, I also want to be cognizant of the fact that if you're sick, we need you to stay home if you're legitimately sick. Not just because you need that rest, but to not get others sick. And that hasn't changed. That's been something that, that doesn't require any pandemic to make us think that way. But again, those are things that are implicate. We were very lucky that we were able to choose between which system of funding we would take, the average of the 3 or the highest. So we've been very fortunate. I'm just thinking that, we went from having this huge state surplus to up to the election, and this is politically driven by my mind. Once the election was over, the governor had no problem starting to state that revenues were going backwards. Oh, we don't have, and the COLA is going to be less, and I think they're painting far too rosy of a picture. I hope that I am wrong. I would be happy to say I was wrong, and we are in better shape than ever. But I think that what I really want to share is the fact that Raul and I and district leadership really are looking at this and being as honest and as upfront as we can. We are healthy. But we also have some very aging facilities that need an awful lot of work. We have the money that we are hoping some of these projects that the architects have sent to DSA will be, I have a feeling that we will have everything ready to go from legal department and from DSA approved so that we can go out to bid at the end of January. Don't hold me to the exact date, but that's what we're targeting for. So we will then at that time kind of have an idea of how much of what we've put away from COVID funds will we need to cover all those projects, if we're able to cover all those projects. If we're not, then how do we prioritize those projects? Which will we do? What is most important? What will provide the most benefit to kids and to the district? Or we have to use some of this money that is in reserves to be able to complete those things. But it takes something like we had a leak right before our Thanksgiving, a leak that took thousands to repair because the facility is old. It was water running like crazy, a river of water underneath this particular gym. And that was costly, and it took multiple tries we were really fortunate that they decided to dig in one place that it actually was, which was kind of a shot in the dark. But so I just want to, I don't want to be alarming or say that we're not healthy. Yes, we're healthy, but as I shared with the kids, and I think you all agree with, is we have to have healthy savings because as a small district, a bus, a roof, any kind of a major disruption is costly. And so I like to, and I think we've done very well in offering our bargaining units, I think, fair compensation for raises. We I think we do what we can. We're honest, we're upfront, we're at the table, we share that, and I'd like us to continue to do so. And Raul, thank you for what you have done. You've done a
Of
great
course,
job.
and unfortunately, the first program that they're looking at cutting or cutting back on is the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, which they just gave us all this money, like upwards of $1.5 million to implement this program, and they're already talking about cutting it back. So
They're going to take
that's
it back
the
or
start.
just not extend it?
They're just cutting it back. So we may not necessarily get the same amount of money, but who knows how deep that'll go.
In our grand scheme, we're still keeping that mindset of planning for the worst, hoping for the best, correct?
Definitely.
On all levels.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Is COVID money funds drying up in March this 2013?
So some of the money's coming up on September of next year. So that's our 3212, and I think we have 2 resources that are coming up next year, and then the year after that is when most of our money expires.
And there's talk both at the state and federal level of extensions to all of those programs, because what they're finding is that not only do we want to do projects that we go out to bid and they are extremely high, but they're also, even if we paid the high price, we can't get the projects completed in time because labor isn't there for it.
Right.
So, and that's one of the things. But, we know there's been some changes in Congress, so who knows what will happen at the federal level. There will be changes in January because of our legislature in the state coming back, and there's some term limit issues that went there, so you're going to have some different players than you had at the table before. And so, and again, who knows what the economy will do, but yeah. I'm just afraid that, we have that wonderful list of all these projects and we really want to do them. But I have a fear that they're going to come back, that they're going to be far more than what we had ever anticipated. So, and again, I hope if I'm wrong, I will be the happiest person alive.
Absolutely.
But that's not,
All right,
Thank
any
you
other
for your time.
questions?
I think that's it.
All right, do we have a motion to approve it?
I'll motion.
We have a first, do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
See, that wasn't that bad. All right, moving on to, have a good night.
Good night, Amber.
Moving on to 11.3, approval of revised updated board policies, administrative regulations, something we've been keeping up to date with.
Yes.
Standard housekeeping. Any questions or concerns? We have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 11.4, approval of 2023-2024 KUS school calendar. We have a motion to approve the calendar, and that fits with Pittman's, correct?
Yes, it does, and the charter will bring theirs, theirs is going to be a little bit different, but it'll come forward in the January or February board meeting. But Jill and I have talked about it.
Just a reminder, our students go to high school in Pittman, so we try to align as much as we can with Turlock's calendar.
Absolutely.
Any questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll motion.
We have a first, we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 11.5, approval resolution 2022-2304, California State Preschool Program, consolidated funding application fiscal year 2022-23. Mr. Brazil?
No, this is just a resolution that we need to, or that I would request the board pass to support our state preschool program as we apply for funding for the 23-24 school year.
Perfect. Any questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Jeff beat you
That
on
was
that one.
honestly,
We have a first, we have, you guys say everything together, but we couldn't do our oath of office together? We have a first by Mr. Greener, a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Moving on to 11.6, approval of California State Preschool Program continued funding application fiscal year 23-24.
so this is just the approval of the first was to apply for the funding, and then the second is to actually have the program and implement it.
Any questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, we have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. 11.7, approval of continuance of COVID-19 MOU between KUSD and CSEA, something we approve every single month.
Yes.
I think it's going to be on here forever.
I'm hoping that someday we'll get to a point where we won't need to have an MOU, but I'm not going to predict that one.
Any questions or concerns? Motion to approve? Somebody?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 11.8, approval of resolutions 6/15/2020, the governing board of Keys Union School District authorizing execution of the amended joint powers of agreement and bylaws of the Central Region School Insurance, CRISIG. Mr. Brazil?
So this is a requirement that when CRISIG, which is our insurance carrier for liability and workers' comp, they went through an audit, and one of the things that they found was that they needed to have a resolution passed by each of the districts that belong to that joint powers, and those were not necessarily not all districts were following it, so they've asked us all now to go ahead and have these shared with the board and approved at the board. So, and I sit on the CRISIG board as one of the members in the district, so.
Any questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
We have a first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to 12, discussion items. SMS track / Jimmy Emmons Field committee meeting update.
It's one of those on the list. It's still, I told Jimmy the other day, I said I drove by there, now that they took those trees out of it, it just looks so different, and it reminds us of how big that is now without the trees, because there's nothing to kind of give perspective. But that is one of the projects, and again, as soon as we are able to go out and get bids, we will we'll feel a lot better about when and how it will be completed.
I drove by the other night, I thought Jimmy was out there shoveling himself.
Shooting gophers.
Jimmy, anything to add?
No, I think you know how I feel about that.
Not a time I see Jimmy, he doesn't bring up the track, so I know he feels the same about you. All right, moving on to 13 reports. 13.1 Superintendent Report, Ms. Brazil.
Okay, well, I wanted to congratulate the girls' 7th and 8th grade basketball teams for their season. 7th grade went undefeated in the season and took first in the tournament. 8th grade played their hearts out, but ended up really taking 4th, although it should have been 3rd in the tournament. I also want to thank the coaches for their hard work and the devotion of the families and kids of going to all those games and really putting in time and effort. It was absolutely emotional when you see kids work that hard and play hard. It was very rewarding to watch. We've completed the wellness plan. It'll be before the board in January meeting. We didn't want to add one more thing to this meeting because it's gone on long. We're still waiting on DSA for building the projects, as we've already talked about, and hopefully we'll move forward soon. I've attended sports events, the PK graduation, and the Christmas programs. Kids were amazing. I sent out, I think, pictures and video today, and we'll be there tomorrow and on Thursday as well here at KES. The band group at SMS was incredible last Friday night. So proud of kids who've had basically 3 months of some instruction, and the level that they were able to play and present was incredible. I really hope that we can find someone to continue that program, because it really brought to my attention, even more so than when you see the kids actually doing something and you realize, man, that really is something that they want and we're doing. We have a supply of fentanyl, the Narcan. We don't have a supply of fentanyl. I don't want to say that. That was probably the wrong thing to say. No, I don't. But we do.
Our ADA is low, so you know where to go.
There went the ball game.
Oh, boy. Sorry. Narcan, we have it at the sites. We applied to the state for it. The county first sent us some, and now we have a supply, so all the sites know. The training has occurred for those individuals who would more than likely have to administer it. It's really not very difficult, and so we've sent all that out. Our multi-tiered support system continues to be implemented at each of the sites with training and activities. The mental health or social work support grant continues to evolve. We are supposed to get $500,000 over the period of 2 years to be able to hire and implement basically a a system of support for kids and for parents. So more of a social worker connection at the school district level that would not just, I don't mean at the school district level, I mean as level of serving all schools in the district. So for example, if there's a family struggling with attendance and, let's listen to the story. Let's find out why is that child. If it's usually the younger kids, they have no choice and, they can't get up and go and get ready on their own. The parent has. So if there's something that a parent needs to help support that, then perhaps we could lead them to some of the programs and availability of resources out in the community. So it's really to look at those things. There's some other components. I'll be honest, it's 5 districts. It's being led by the county. And every time we have a meeting, I'm given just a little bit more hesitation on just exactly what it is that they want us to do. So I'll keep you posted on that. Wish to thank Eric and his crew for their hard work setting up and taking down sets for all the different programs and still having to deal with everything else. Also wanted to really thank Eric, because I know he and Jackie for the turkey dinner. Really, I can't believe that they did all of that, and that's an awful lot of work, so I really do appreciate it. I wish to thank Mel and all staff for working on the baskets this year as tradition that brings joy to so many in need in our community. We had DataPath, who is our provider of technology, bring in, I don't know, probably 12 or 14 different toy gifts wrapped to contribute as well. So it was really nice to see that they wanted to give back to the community that work in. We will honor Costco and the RV business in Vanderpools for their contribution and support at our next board meeting. Again, we really want to show them that we appreciate their involvement and their support. The release of the dashboard is coming. We'll present next month. Chronic absenteeism is a huge issue that the state, it's like the state tells you to do one thing, but yet then they ding you for the other thing. So it's really maddening. I wish to thank Raul for his hard work in completing his first interim report. I think he did a great job, and he has put in an awful lot of time. I sometimes have to tell him, get out, go. So COVID tests are available at the site offices for the holidays. We can, if you really want one, you can go and pick them up. I wish to thank all the student council, especially the student body president over at SMS and at KES for their hard work and their ability to really lead and take on change. January 6th will be a staff work day, and the training will be on our county-led data dashboards, which really is us taking a deep dive into all of our assessments and where are we not meeting the needs of kids and what skills are we lacking in so that we can better serve all students. I want to also thank Mr. Maciel for his amazing work that allowed our student musicians to showcase what they had worked on so hard as we continue to again seek a music teacher. We are seeing great artwork from our kids and our art program, and it takes a while to get things started, so we're making progress. And the last, I would like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. And hopefully we will all return healthy and ready to face the New Year's challenges. I also want to remind and invite the board to attend tomorrow afternoon from 1:30 to 3 at SMS in the gymnasium, kind of our district staff potluck that we're going to do some finger foods and enjoy some company. So that is all I have for today.
All right, thank you. Moving on to board member comments, Mr. Emmons.
Well, probably the same things he was talking about, but the turkey dinner went good, and to me, I like that. It's fun, when we all get together and all chip in and raise some money for the school, and it went pretty smooth, I think, this year. Separate and give it a little bit more room. I made the gravy over here, and the turkeys over here. It kind of was a little bit easier. And all the volunteers, thank you, everybody. Basketball tournament. I didn't go to a lot of the games, but I went to the basketball tournament, and I sure am glad I did. The 8th graders, I think they all had the flu. It's amazing that they even could play, but they played very hard. And then the 7th graders, they were just on fire. They took the lead and didn't look back. They all did, but they all did great. Went to the winter performance last night, the Christmas performance of the kindergarten and the 1st graders, and man, they were good. Really, a lot of fun to watch. I went to the music recital, and that was really nice too. Mr. Maciel stepped up and helped the kids out, and those kids they learned a lot in just a short amount of time. Very proud of all of those kids. Merry Christmas to everybody.
All
That's
right.
about all I got.
Thank you. Mr. Green.
Man, Jimmy, I was into yours.
Well,
I was into it, brother.
Just say dinner when you're done.
Potluck. When's the potluck? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow, 1:30. You were in charge of bringing all of the meats.
Yes. All the meat?
You actually have
Is that what I need to bring?
Cooked.
Cooked?
And ready to eat.
No.
It's at 1:30?
1:30 to 3 in SMS gym. And if you can bring a raffle gift, that would be wonderful.
A raffle gift?
Yeah, seriously, we're going
I
to
can do that.
a raffle.
School appropriate.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay, so Raul, I love it, my friend. Thank you very much. You know, to me, that was your first time up there. That was kind of solo. That was your thing, and you hit a home run on it. I appreciate that, and your clarity was spot on. I didn't have any problems understanding any of it. So I thank you, except for one thing. When you say turn the page, I didn't know what page we were on. So take me a little bit.
Should give us a number.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. That's the only thing. I mean, not that that's my fault. I take full blame for that. But
Well, a couple meetings ago, he said he used to sleep in meetings, so. If you
right.
sleep-
So thank you, Raul. Thank you very much, my friend. I have down here. Mr. Murray. Mr. Murray. So I wanted to thank you for that leadership mentoring you're doing for them kids. You know, I think I've told you this before. That's so important for them, but it's important for me for them because I appreciate the articulation of the kids, their willingness to get up there in front of an audience and perform. And that's you, my friend, and I thank you for that. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to them. And one of the other things I want to thank you for is giving them that time. That time is so important, Mr. Murray, because that's their moment in the spotlight. And I don't know if I'm on cue, but I think that's so important. As I remember back when I was up there at their age, how uncomfortable at first it was, but if they gave me the time, how we would shine. And I think all of them shine tonight, and I thank you for it, my friend. So thank you, Mr. Murray. Also, I have Mike. I had no clue you and your wife did the turkey dinner and put so much effort into that. So as I heard that, I thought I wanted to make sure that it was publicly known that I'm sure from the whole board that we thank you for your contribution and thank your wife for that as well. Of course, Jimmy, Jeff, everybody, thank you for all your time. And I missed the dinner. It's my first year in forever that I missed it.
Usually you bought I think last year you bought 14 meals to go.
You know what I mean? And I didn't, it's just right over my head.
Barbara Spratling missed. I seen her the other day, and she goes, Jimmy, I forgot about the turkey dinner.
She did.
So we're going to have to write her number down and call her. I told her next year, November 1st, you get over here and get your tickets.
Right? Because we had it at Barbara Spratling School.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she, but anyway, next year.
Okay.
Make sure she gets a ticket.
Okay. And then last, obviously I want to thank everybody and wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right, thank you. Ms. Brunel? Your mic's off. There's a button.
There should be a little.
It says push.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I can't see mine either, Mike.
There you go. I don't blame you guys, just mute me. I just want to thank all the staff for all your hard work. And, man, another year has went by. It's just so fast. It's moving quickly on us. But I just want to wish all staff members Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. And enjoy your time with your family, because I will. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Greener?
Ditto.
That works. I have a whole long list, as always. After last board meeting, it was right when we started cleaning up, Jimmy yells, "Oh, we forgot about the fall in the books. We forgot to talk about the great time we had in the fall in the books." We had a couple judges there. I dressed up as Bob Ross, which was the worst mistake ever. 2 people in the whole fall in the books knew who I was.
No, I got it.
Nobody got it. Nobody cared. I spent all that time, and I looked great, but nobody cared.
You look awful.
I knew it wasn't a good costume, but I
Rock
went with
star
it.
or something, I don't know what.
But it was a fun time, and from what I talked about, they were sold out all the food, and everybody had a great time when we were walking out. Sports, they've already brought it up. Those 8th graders, you know, Mr. Brazil talked about how we're not supposed to go to school sick and all that stuff. Those kids pushed through. They wanted to play that tournament, and I was there, right there supporting them like we all were. So I appreciate their willingness to play. One thing you'll notice is the 4 Spratling middle schoolers that came and talked, they're all sports kids. Yogurt's done everything with the volleyball and the basketball team. The 3 other ones played volleyball and basketball. Yogurt's trying out for boys basketball. It really shows who puts up the extra effort in school, and they stand up for it. But another good thing is, as a board member, we grow relationships with them that they know they can come and talk to us. And Yogurt's always been pushing that pajamas all year long. And I remember Mr. Stewart and I would always go back and forth on the hair color. And that took a good 3-4 years for us adults to change that these kids could probably do in a couple months. And the way they handled it and the way they driv it is the way it got there. And I also want to thank Mr. Brazil for taking it serious, because in years past we've had different superintendents, and even popping in and checking with the students to make sure that they're well equipped and not shy or embarrassed for tonight. I hope that you showed them that why you do what you do. I have a whole bunch. Movie night, great movie night, great attendance. It was one of those where you wear your pajamas, you get in for free. So only 7 kids had to pay to go to a movie night.
Those poor kids.
And I was like, they broke dress code and everything. But they were a very chatty group, but they were all good. Sold out of snacks right away, so I just got to sit around and watch the movie. Turkey dinner was a huge success. I never thought I'd ever wash dishes, but that first year Jimmy suggested we wash dishes because nobody else wants to.
I thought that was it.
But it's a lot of fun washing dishes, working side by side with everybody. Performances last night was great, standing room only. Those little kids were all dressed up cute. One even had his face painted. The parents came. It was a great. So I'm hoping that they still have good attendance for the rest of the grades. Was honored to go on a 4th grade field trip to Colombia, which was a lot of fun because both my kids missed out on that field trip. And it was a lot of fun to go up there. It was raining. The kids brought umbrellas. They didn't care. They trucked on. And it was a quick little trip up there. Also was able to go to the charter school for the flag retirement. That's the first thing first time I've ever experienced. The charter school kids were well behaved and took it seriously. I appreciate that. And the adults enjoyed it just as much as the students. They had some guests there too. Thanks to Mr. Brazil, we got invited to a Waterford assembly, which is the first I've ever gone to another school assembly, and they were welcoming. They greeted us at the door. They had our seating charts. That was really good assembly to see. I've followed him on Instagram. He travels all over the United States.
What was that for, Jeff? What was the purpose of it?
It was Tony Hoffman. You might actually know him. Tony Hoffman was a BMXer.
Oh, yes.
And got into drugs, got into stealing, robbing, and did some jail time. And got out of jail and didn't want to ever go back. So he became a motivational speaker. Wanted to be an Olympic bicyclist.
Yep.
Never made it, but was an Olympic coach. So he still says he made it. Like, he made it to the Olympics.
They also had an evening presentation from him for parents to talk about the fentanyl in particular,
Yes.
but for other things. But
Very.
Is he from Hickman?
What?
Isn't he from Hickman?
No,
that's it.
Concord? No. What's right
You're thinking
around
of
Fresno?
motorcycle.
Clovis.
Clovis.
Well, somewhere around there. But really hip, cool, fancy shoes, and talk to the kids.
I'll be darned.
It was on,
relate to them.
It was on their level, not ours.
I'll be darned.
And our kids were perfect for it. And I really appreciate that Waterford invited numerous schools. A lot of schools got to go. I think it's superintendents were friends, and we got invited.
That's what it sounds like to me, yeah.
You could tell who he's friends with.
How'd they
But
fit everybody in that gym?
we went to the high school.
Oh, to the high school.
Yeah, and they actually had seats out on the things that were colored on who's died in the county in the last year on which
wow.
drugs.
Oh, my
And it was an eye-opener. And it was really nice their guidance counselor did a lot of the talking before. And she talked about, and they actually had a student that died from fentanyl. So they had a chair up in the front for that student, and they said they would have been so old right now. And really hit home. Probably more of a high school, but I'm glad we were able to take our 8th graders. And they were mature
Oh,
about
I
it.
didn't know we got to take our 8th
No, we took our 8th
graders.
graders.
Oh, wow.
And so that was, it was a eye-opening event, and I'm really glad that another school welcomed us.
Did
over
our
there.
8th grade, did you hear any response from our 8th graders on the
They understood his story, but I don't think it affected.
Gotcha.
You know, it's one of those, probably high school, you know.
And maybe later in life, they'll remember and retain some of that, huh?
Guarantee they retained his story.
Yeah.
Of when to make choices and stuff
Sure.
like that. And then saw the baskets getting lined up at Spratling. It's huge, and takes a lot of work going into that. I think that's it. Yes, that is it. All my notes. So we're moving on to 14.1, next board meeting. Well, it's one of those we'll see you next year jokes. January 10th, 2023. Closed session is at 5:30. Regular session will be at 6. Do we have a motion to adjourn at 7:25?
I'll motion.
We have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Everybody, please stick around in case you got signatures.